Welcome back, guys, to yet another World of Warcraft video. Today we are going to be talking about leveling 1 to 100 in Enchanting for the War Within. Now, whether or not you're watching this before the expansion is launched or after, this should still give you a pretty good view as to how to level it. I'm going to be going over all the different kind of aspects of what you can do for leveling it. Obviously, at the time of recording this, I'm on the beta, as you can see on the screen, so it's a little hard to tell how some of the prices are going to kind of stabilize, and also depending on when you actually watch this, it might be totally different if it's at launch or if it's a couple weeks into it. Before we do get into it, make sure that you guys drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel with all the notifications on so you do not miss any future videos. With Enchanting, you start out, the first thing that you actually learn from your trainer is going to be Glimmering Haste. It's very, very cheap. You don't have to necessarily use, quality free materials. You can use lower qualities, but just to give you guys an idea that, it doesn't matter, right? You want to use the cheapest quality as you can possibly find. Now, this is going to take you not very far into the profession, but we do also get Glimmering Critical Strike when we reach 5. You'll see that here. And right here, and we still are fine here, and these cost the same, so there's no difference. Whichever one you choose here, it's not going to make any difference at all because they cost the exact same. Now, the next breakpoint is going to be 10, and that's where we get a couple more options, right? You see 2 more recipes here. And now you'll see that the Glimmering Haste has turned into a yellow version, so we're not going to be guaranteed to get a skill point every craft. So now we have the option of going for the Glimmering Critical Strike, but since we have 2 other versions, you'll see here Leyline Residue, Storm Dust, and Gleaming Shards, that's not worth it. And then you have Whisper of Armored Avoidance, and that's 10. So your cheapest option is to craft a couple more of these Glimmering Critical Strike enchants. Now, this is not going to last forever, but we'll go for this, as you can see, as long as possible. Now, when this hits 15, that's the next breakpoint. You'll see that this is going to change. One more. And the reason why I'm doing this layout is so you have a play-by-play, so you can figure out what the best situation is for you, just so people understand, so it's not like a video in small kind of individual aspects. So this is a way that you can follow through so you can see it on your screen in the kind of playthrough angle, right? But now we have a couple more options. We're looking at Whisper of Silken Avoidance. We're looking at Whisper of Armored Avoidance. We're looking at a Ruined Bismuth Rod, and then we are looking at Mirror Powder. Now, here you'll see that this is going to be something that you can buy off a vendor, and I can actually show you over here. Where is it? Where is it? Right there. So we can just buy a couple of these. Not that we're necessarily going to need that many, but right now we only need 10. So there's no reason to make this. It's a very small difference, but there's no reason to make this, and there's still no reason to make Mirror Powder because that is way more expensive. You will see that the Ruined Bismuth Rod actually gives you 3 skills. So just to save yourself some time, you can make this one. They're not super expensive to buy off the vendors, so it's not going to be a big difference from these. Want to save yourself some time, it's pretty much the same exact thing. And when we get a little bit further in, right around this craft, we'll be able to see that the Ruined Bismuth Rod changes to yellow. So it's not going to give us 3 anymore, and we are not guaranteed to get even a skill point at all. Now, the next ones we have is Glimmering Mastery here. We're looking at 5 Storm Dust. And this one we're looking at 5 Leyline Residue and 3 Storm Dust. Probably not a good option. Then we are looking at Oathsworn Tenacity, which is a weapon enchant. This is very expensive to make, so we absolutely do not. We want to avoid that as much as possible. And then we are looking at Algari Mana Oil. This is also expensive, 10 Leyline Residue. So our best option is going for Glimmering Mastery as long as we possibly can. The next breakpoint will be 30. So we're going to go ahead and reach that right there. Now, we can still make Glimmering Mastery and not worry about it too much. So we're going to keep doing that because it's only 5 Storm Dust. These others are more expensive. So we're going to keep it on with the good old Glimmering Mastery here. Next breakpoint, going to be 35. Coming up here in 2 crafts. Or 1. Right here, The next one we learn is Whisper of a Silken Leech. Now this one costs 10 Storm Dust. So this is double the amount from Glimmering Mastery, but as you can see, this is not a 100% skill anymore. So our next option is going for Whisper of Silken Leech. That is going to be the cheapest one next to Whisper of Armored Speed. Whether you do one or the other, it doesn't really matter too much. But the other options you have right now are way too expensive compared to these. So we are going to be making these. We're going to continue along here. Now, next breakpoint, going to be 40. We're coming up here. Get our first wand. Another weapon enchant. Now we're at 40. I'll just show you guys. This is not going to be... This is also on the cheaper-ish side, but it's... You have to get into Inscription to be able to make this, and you can possibly buy this off the auction house. So maybe you have an option just because it gives you 3 skill ups here. But these weapon enchants are too expensive, and in case these are very expensive, paying for 10 Storm Dust might be a cheaper option. But just keep an eye out for these particular green woods that you can find from Inscription. But for now, we're going to continue making these that only cost 10 Storm Dust. Now, the next breakpoint will be 45, and then you'll see 50 as well, and 55. Once we've hit 55, that's at the point where we need to worry about potentially buying recipes, or potentially buying, what do you call them? Not buying more recipes, but buying recipes off the auction house, or learning them through specialization options. But we still have a couple options here. We have Glimmering Versatility. It's going to take us a little bit further, at least to 50 here. Couple more crafts, couple more handfuls here. Once we actually get up to 50, we'll be able to learn the next Whispers. And we, as you can see, we can actually still get some points out of Glimmering Versatility. So instead of spending 10 Storm Dust on these Whispers, we're going to continue into Glimmering Versatility. Now, you could potentially also look at how much these enchants sell for on the auction house, and maybe some of these are more worth it than others. That's a consideration that you can make. But in terms of pure crafting costs, that is what you want to focus on. Still, these other weapon enchants too expensive. We absolutely want to avoid them as long as we can. Now we are not guaranteed a proc point here anymore for a skill point, so we are going to go ahead and use these Whispers instead for 10 Storm Dust. Now, we get nothing else from the trainer, so at this point we are left to buy recipes off the auction house or get certain recipes off of whatever skill that you can find in your profession. But from here, I'll show you guys. From here, enchanting starts getting a little expensive when we reach the breakpoints between 65 and 75. That's the point where it'll start getting a little crazy, because a lot of these cheaper enchants won't really take you anywhere else. So you're going to have to start, as you can see, you're going to have to start doing weapon enchants. But right now, we're going to continue making this Whisper of Armored Leech because it still is getting us a couple points. Very cheap still. So we continue along. Now you can see it's turned green, so the chances of us hitting something here are still pretty small. But you can expect on a green skill up, it's a low chance of gaining skill, but still you can get a skill point within like 4 crafts unless you get really, really lucky. But still 10 Storm Dust compared to the 1 Ringing Deep's Ingot, 50 Storm Dust, 5 Gleaming Shards, and a Refulgent Crystal. There's a big difference here. So we're going to keep making those all the way until we get to 75, which we should here in a couple of crafts. Should be pretty nice. So what about now? There we are. So now we have no other options than to make weapon enchantments. So at this point, it's going to be very expensive. Now, every single one of these have the exact same price. So at this point, I would go for whichever one sells for the most on the auction house, or maybe potentially you want to use it or make it for your guild or whatever it is. So whichever one that you end up choosing, you can obviously go for the cheapest quality rank of materials, because again, enchanting actually has quality ranks on the materials this time around. But when you actually go for crafting these, at this point you're at 75, so you will have no issues unlocking every single one of your specializations. All 4 of them are unlocked at 75, so there's nothing weird with leveling here. So you can go into whichever version that you want. If you want to go for some of the consumables, you can. If you want to go for disenchanting, you can. If you want to go for the enchantments, right? If you actually want to go for weapon enchants and gear enchants and all this stuff, everlasting enchantments, and then you have shattering, whichever one that you choose. And again, as I also talked about in the previous guides that I've done, but also next to the previous ones in all future guides, when it comes to these leveling guides, I will be linking the profession build videos that I have for each of the professions, because those are videos that I've made already. So if you are wondering what kind of a build that you potentially want to do, or just want to hear what I think about certain builds, then I have a couple of videos for you. They'll be in the description, but probably also in a pinned comment, so make sure you check that out if you're interested. Now, we're looking at it here, and it's getting really, really, really pricey. We're only at 82, but you can imagine that if you are an enchanter and you are speccing into this, then you're going to be absolutely fine. If you go for disenchanting, then you probably won't be making too many of these anyway, and it's a very small amount of skill points, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Most of your other stuff, or your other potential recipe skill up points here, you could get this from enchanted crests. This is something that we also had in Dragonflight. These recipes we're gonna get from, as you can see, adventuring in Castle Gar, but this is going to be, you'll get it from doing random content, killing some rares, delves, drop some delves, dungeons, whatever it is. These will quickly be figured out, so by the time that this video comes out, either they will already have been figured out. If not, by the time that the expansion launches, these are going to be everywhere. These are not going to be hard to get, so that's one of the ways. The other option you have is going for rods, right? The higher quality rod. But this also requires sparks, so you would have to have people actually give you personal work orders, or having alts that send these through. And if you have other people that provide all the material, then the crafting cost for that is going to be very low. Then this is just a matter of whether or not you can make what they're asking for. But if you make an alt and you send this through, then that's going to be you paying for all of it. The other option is going for, as you can see here, Nerubian novelties, or down here in tertiary trivialities, and then you have the same thing here. So you can actually go in here, everlasting enchantments, and then you would be able to find that in the Nerubian novelties over here. So that's one option. If you want to get all the way to 100, you have the option of crafting crests. Otherwise, you're going to have to go into the higher quality versions of some of the enchants. And besides that, you also have some of the weapon enchants, and you can see that here, earthen enhancements, era 4 alterations, those are going to be right here, and those are going to be right here. So those are the points that you'll actually be able to take yourself any further. So just to show you right here, boom, 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 give you guys a couple of recipes, boom, and then we'll go in here, get these, and then we scroll back up. Once we have these, we'll be able to either make these ourselves, obviously just to level up, or maybe we make these for other people, sell them on the auction house, whatever the option is. But you'll be able to see that we are easily going to be getting all the way to 100 with these. It's going to be a little harder once you reach 90. You can see here that now they're yellow skill, and obviously this might take a couple crafts, but these are actually not too expensive, so that's a little surprising. But that's also only if you go for that, because if you go for, say, these weapon enchantments, that's going to take you up way faster, as you can see. But these are also way more expensive in terms of material usage. But that one enchant, as you can see here, enchant of armored speed, this is green now, so it'll take you a couple of tries to get all the way to 100, but it will take you to 100. And that's it for enchanting. Whichever ones turn out to be the cheapest based on the time that you're watching the video, make sure that you follow that. If you can get some potential, gold back from selling so many enchants, then also consider that when you're leveling your profession. But this is really, really, really simple to level. And again, if you're interested in some of the profession builds, make sure that you check out the description below, and also probably the pinned comments for the videos about profession builds. But I appreciate you guys for watching. I hope this made sense in some way, shape, or form. If you did watch it all the way to this point in the video, make sure that you type chocolate down in the comments below, because I have a chocolate bar right in front of me. And yeah, that's all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.